Hey Erin, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you so much. So today we have Erin Aquarius with us, and she's a holistic health coach from America. And we met in Mumbai some months back, and then we realized that we have so much common in yoga and meditation. And of course, she has expertise on a lot of other things also, like detox diet and breathing techniques and use of water and all that stuff. So I thought, one of these days during COVID time, maybe we will connect and, share some information with our listeners for their benefit. And of course, uh, Erin, her journey is very interesting, right from her hometown, home state to, is it Florida or is it, which state you stay, the island state you stay?
I'm currently based in Hawaii.
Yeah, Hawaii. From Hawaii to Nicaragua to Australia to Bali to India and now in Goa. And I believe you shuffle between Goa and Hawaii. And
Hmm.
all your clients, they stay in touch with you over telephone and you consult them over matters related to mental and physical health, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, who wouldn't want to have a life like you?
Yeah. I feel really grateful to be able to
Yeah,
do this work and just share what I've learned with people and help
yeah,
them heal their body and find alignment. So I feel very blessed.
yeah. So, Erin, I would like to hear a bit about your journey from your home state to where you are now. And then we'll jump into stuff related to how to detox your body, water therapy, breathing techniques, meditation, food preferences, and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
over to you, Erin.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin. I was born and raised um, in Maryland near Washington, D.C. I went to college down in Salisbury. I got a marketing degree, and I quickly realized that I didn't want to find a career that just for money. I needed to do what fed my soul. And I ran off and ended up in Hawaii and never left there. So I've been based there for 15 years. And I very quickly found yoga, and yoga changed my life and brought me back to my center and back to God and back to my spiritual journey. When I was really young, I loved Jesus and the angels. I loved to pray. I could see spirits. I could see things. And then through life, going through middle school and high school, it's not that easy to be a child in society. And I kind of turned my back on God for many years. And then when I found yoga, it pulled me back in. And so I've been practicing for 15 years and I've been teaching for 10. I was in Hawaii and I began practicing. I would rotate between 13 different teachers. I really loved going to various teachers and trying various styles. There was always something to learn from everybody. And after about 5 years, I found Kundalini Yoga, which is a lot of deep pranayama and more meditation and really waking up at 4:30 for puja and for sadhana. And then I had an outer body experience through a gong session. And from that experience, I wasn't able to eat and I could barely even drink water for about a week. And I knew something was happening in my body. And from there, it really spun me out into the world. I went off to Bali and I joined a yoga festival and found a teacher there who found me and had just told me, you're a yogi, you need to be a teacher. So he pulled me into his training. This was a special training. It was a dance of Shiva and Shakti that came from the Kamakhi temple, the Kali temple in Assam. So not many people know this form. It's much more fluid. It's almost like a yin practice, but it is a dance of the yin and yang. And then from Bali, I went back to Hawaii and I was a little bit lost because I just wanted to continue on this spiritual path. And I um, ended up going back to meet the teacher in Australia. And I went from Australia to Bali, to Thailand, to India, to Sri Lanka, back to Bali, and back to Hawaii. And in each country I was in, I would find, or they would find me, whether it was a yoga teacher or a healer, that would teach me some other tool or tactic. There's so many tools out there. There's so many approaches out there, and it's really important to find what resonates with you. You know, so I got into Japa, I got into chanting mantras, I got into silent meditation, I got into guided meditation, I got into working with my own chakras and balancing the energy there. And I started that actually in Thailand. I was taken in by a healer, and I would lay somebody down and check their chakras, and then I would help. It's like Reiki, but it's not, and I would help balance the energy field. So I started with that. Then in Bali, I was another healer found me, and I spent 3 months in a Balinese village with him, and he initiated me through his lineage. And you could again say it's similar like Reiki, but Reiki is a little bit of a younger tradition. This is very old, ancient. He was a very special man. He was a little medicine man in a village. So he gave me more tools and um, more parts to add to my practice that would just help me with my own growth and give me more tools to support the people that come to me for help. So I went back to Hawaii after all this journey. And I had also gone to Nicaragua a long time ago, and I sailed on a boat from Hawaii to Fiji. So I've had a lot of adventures. When I went back to Hawaii, I met a man. I really felt home in India. I spent 5 months 10 years ago, and I couldn't wait to come back, but just life got tied up in different ways in Hawaii. And then I ended up meeting my husband in Hawaii, and he's from Kolkata. So we got married in Kauai, and then now we're living our lives so that we can go back and forth from Hawaii to India. I feel very at home in both. And I am blessed that I can work over the phone with my clients, so a lot of my clients are in the US, and now people are getting more familiar with me in India. So I'm also opening up to India. I work one-on-one, and I just finished leading a group detox where I had a group of women, and we went through an 8-week program, and I would teach them about different organs and hormones and the nervous system and the importance of keeping all that balanced. And then so I'm here now. It was pandemic. We got stuck here, but I feel blessed that we did. And I'm just still working, and, I'm still practicing. I'm sharing yoga when people ask me. So I teach privates right now, and then working with my
Okay.
clients.
Amazing. I mean, for a Western girl to, travel so much and, come back to India and find spiritual interest in the ways we understand spirituality in the one of the most ancient ways, I would say. And you practice yoga, you use meditation to treat your clients. So I find this combination very, very interesting. It's kind of East meets West kind of thing. So you have all the scientific information of about what kind of food, the nutrients, uh, you know, uh, amount of water intake one should take during the day, and at the same time you have balancing being done using yoga and meditation. So let's start with the subject of health. For example, generally when people talk about health, they generally consider only the physical health, but health is also mental health. Very few people understand this, and I'm glad you combine that. You have mental health as well as physical health, and you don't separate it. I mean, if you want a balanced, healthy life, you better be mentally healthy as well as physically healthy.
Absolutely.
So,
And
what are your approaches in achieving that?
well, and first, it's really important for people to understand so I went to integrative nutrition school out of New York City, and I was in a year-long program, and then I took an extended course in gut health, because what happened was I got really sick in all my journeys. So I picked up parasites, and I had a 6-inch worm. And from my unhealthy eating habits as a child with junk food, I ended up having candida, inflammation. I had viruses. I had eczema. I had everything going on in the book. So it's really important to understand. And during this time, I was also doing yoga and eating very clean. And so I was very confused. I was doing the energy work, but I saw how important it is to really take care of the physical too, because the gut and the brain are in constant communication. And even scientists now will call the gut your second brain, but some scientists will even say it's your first brain. And so when the belly is off, it throws the mind off. And so there's many times, symptoms that come, like for me, I had more anxiety. I had more depression. I had more mood swings. I was easily frustrated, something that you should be able to just, somebody comes in front of you. We don't know what people are going through. For instance, if I have a waiter who comes to serve me at a restaurant and he's grumpy, if I'm in compassion, I can understand that I don't know what this kid went through today or last night or this morning to put him in that space. I don't need to take it personally. We're all in our own space and journey. So when I'm easily frustrated, I will more take it personally. I would get angry. Why is this guy so I just noticed in my own mental space that I was just a mess. I had brain fog. I couldn't focus. My thoughts were more negative. And I didn't realize till I learned all this and cleansed myself how important the belly was. So it's absolutely important to take care of the belly, the gut, to have a strong brain. There's even something as simple as the more excess fat somebody has, especially around the belly and organs, the smaller the brain becomes. And so these simple, amazing little facts, it's like the more fat we have, the smaller the brain, but we need a healthy brain. These diseases or issues like Alzheimer's, when you're starting to see the symptoms, this has already been happening for like 30 years. It's not like it was just you ate bad for a week or 1 year. This is 30 years of neglecting your health. And then finally you're seeing symptoms. When you're already seeing those symptoms, you're far, far down. So the way that I worked, I went to many doctors. They would tell me I was going to have eczema for life. I had stuff on my face, my neck, my shoulders, my fingers here, my wrist. And I was like a monster for 4.5. I struggled for 5 years with the digestive. It got worse when I traveled. I picked something up. And then I kind of knew I had something, but I didn't take it serious and go into serious detoxes because life got busy. My husband and I opened a small organic Indian cafe in Hawaii, and it took over my life. And I didn't have time for more than just my yoga and eating well, but that wasn't enough. So I got really tired of doctors. I'm not into medicine. I like to work with nature and with herbs. I believe that God has mysteriously and magically planted everything around us that we need to bring the body back into balance. And the body's always trying to find balance and maintain homeostasis. And sometimes it just needs a little support from us to bring it back there. So I found this really magical man who did intuitive scans. And he scans your red blood cells, your white blood cells. He looks at all of your organs and your glands. He looks at your veins and your arteries. He looks at mainly the lower 3 chakras, because we're working more with physical for this part of the work.
You mean to say that just by having a look at you, or does he use an instrument?
We use charts and pendulums. And so we connect you with permission. We need a name and a birth town and a birthday. And then we tune into the energy of that person and we let that body tell us. So this is what he did for me. So he worked, and some of my family were even freaking out, like, go to a doctor. And I said, the doctors don't know. Like, I'd go. He saw eczema. He said, you're going to have eczema for the rest of your life. Take steroids. I said, that's not the answer.
And they subscribe some medicine that you're supposed to
some
take.
Some steroids, yeah. And
the
way I see it is like a garden, and there's weeds growing. And if you just cut the weeds, they're going to grow again. They'll pop up in some other place. So even if you go and have a surgery and they remove something, you didn't remove what caused that thing. So it's going to pop up somewhere else. Where this work is really about going in and digging up that root so that you don't have those issues. Keep coming back. Somebody has a fungal infection and they go to the doctor and he gives them an antibiotic. Well, antibiotics don't kill all fungus. So it'll knock down the symptom, but it's suppressed. Yeah. So later when you get stressed or something happens in life, it springs up again. That's what would happen to me. It would come and go and it would come and go. So he has taught me the work. I was I couldn't believe how healed I was and how everything cleaned up. And I was so full of life and energy again. I passed the worm. I saw it. Um, my skin, everything just cleared and I became vibrant and I was so healthy and I was getting compliments of like, wow, you're so alive. And I was like, I really felt it. I felt like I had always felt like I had a bowling ball in my belly and I just totally passed it. I remember the day, the feeling like first we had to kill it and then we needed to flush it. So this work is really about, so now he's taught me, and this is what I do with my clients. So I don't need them in front of me. Most of them are in the US. I do an intuitive scan and I see what's going on. I see which organs are lacking. I look for the congestion. I look for mineral and vitamin deficiency. I look for viruses and parasites.
All this you do with your visual judgment. It's not no instrument used.
Yes, it's just it's an intuitive, no like laboratory. I don't check real blood. I do it all from in my room.
Fantastic.
Um, and then, you know, once you have that whole chart, you see the body like an ecosystem. Then you start to put things together, and then you're looking for whether it's bacterial infection. Sometimes it's fungal infection. Sometimes it's a roundworm or a flatworm or a parasite. And sometimes it's heavy metals, and sometimes it's mold. These are the main things that are going to take the body out of balance. And it's the microbiome is the most important part of the belly. 70 to 80% of your immunity, your immune cells live in your gut lining. So when we take antibiotics, we basically wipe out the immune system. You know, sometimes they're necessary. I'm not totally 100% against them, but many times there's natural herbs that can do the same job, and then it won't wipe out your gut flora. Because if you do take it, you need to be conscious to replenish the gut flora by eating a lot of probiotic food and taking probiotics, because not only you wiped out the bad guys, you wiped out the good guys too, but it doesn't kill the yeast. And this is why a lot of people have issues with candida overgrowth, which can lead to diabetes. And it also ends up, you know, the blood is always reaching for a buffer to keep in balance. And so, for instance, if we're low in magnesium, then the blood is going to keep taking calcium from the bones. So then the bones are low in calcium and people end up with osteoporosis and they think, oh, just feed more calcium. But that wasn't the issue. It was the low in magnesium, number one, and two, there's an overgrowth in sugar. So when you take those antibiotics and you wipe out the good and bad bacteria, the fungus and candida is still there. And then if they're like, whoa, they have all this space now. And then they like build cities and make parties. And then women end up with all these yeast infections. Again, it's makes you moody. They have really strong sugar cravings. You know, if you have a really strong sweet tooth, it's a really good sign there's an overgrowth of candida somewhere. There's many different symptoms that come from gut imbalance. And two really big ones are depression and anxiety. So it's just goes to show like how much that brain and that the belly are connected.
Yeah, Erin, this brings me to this very vital issue that we all face. Most of uh, the people, those who live in cities, they face is the problem of stress and anxiety, and they really don't know how to deal with it. And uh, according to you, uh, a lot of stress and anxiety can be relieved by just eating the right kind of food. So in India, we have, recommended foods like turmeric is recommended by, our ancient people, and it is considered as very healthy for your gut bacteria. Then people eat garlic, raw onion, and even in our culture, cow's milk is considered very healthy. Not the foreign cow, the local cow, the native cow, which has a particular kind of protein in it, which is very good for your guts. Which is very, it has a uh, that protein is very different from the protein that you get to see in the foreign breeds. You have any information on that?
Well, nowadays things come in plastic, but if you look back at like ancestors, they were getting milk from their own cows. So of course it's going to be so much more natural, and they're loving their cow. It's taken care of well. So it can have absolute healing properties. When it comes to milk or anything, I really believe in something called bioindividuality. So what is good for me might not be good for you. What's good for you might not be good for your neighbor. So it
That's
really
true.
depends on what's going on in the body, because if we're healthy, then milk can keep us healthy and strong. If we're already suffering from some sort of inflammation, milk can be a bit acidic and cause more inflammation. So it really depends on like, you know, the unique situation of the person. One thing I did want to mention that you brought up was the stress. Stress is something is like a big killer. And you know, with the right food, we can do it. Obviously, meditation is one of the best ways to help with stress, and this is why. The nervous system is two parts, and even in yoga, we have Ida and Pingala. You have the feminine and the masculine. You have the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, the sympathetic is the masculine. This is called fight or flight. So, for instance, back in the day, a tiger, you're in the jungle and a tiger comes, so you freak out. So all of the blood rushes to your limbs and to your brain so you can move faster and get away. It's called fight or flight. And this is stress. And your body doesn't know the difference if I'm sitting here stressing about paying my bills tomorrow or if I'm running from a tiger. Stress is stress. It affects the body the same. It's just like if I'm in a real situation crying and then I can watch a movie and cry just from watching a movie. The body doesn't know the difference. And so what's important to understand is that when we're in that stressful state, the body's not producing saliva. The body's not producing the hydrochloric acid. So the digestion is totally stopped. It's not even working. So people, you know, that's why when you eat, take a moment and breathe over your food, bless your food, give thanks, and just take a deep breath to allow your body to relax, because most people are breathing really shallow in their chest and they're not even breathing into the belly. You know, the yogis will teach us that we only use like 10% of our capacity. But when you start doing deep breathing and you're using the diaphragm, and the diaphragm actually massages the heart on every breath. So it gets the body to relax, and we drop into what's called the rest and digest. This is the feminine energy. It's more creative. It's less logical and direct. It's more the moon. It's spiritual. It's intuitive. And this is when, because rest and digest, this is when the digestion is actually working. So the body's like, oh, I'm relaxed. I'm not running from a tiger. All the blood will rush back from your limbs and your brain into the gut. And then the gut is working and the metabolism is working. So I've even had clients who were like running 15 kilometers a day and gaining weight. And then when I got her to stop running so much and do a little more yoga and meditation, she actually dropped the weight. It's really hard to understand because we were taught in and out with calories, but it's really the body's this miracle system, the way it works. So we really need to understand the nervous system. You know, people that are, you know, in city life, it's really more, you know, people are just go, 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 fast, fast, fast. There's always a lot of noise. So the body's always on edge. So the digestions are being compromised. And then a lot of people end up with issues. Then we're depressed, we're anxious, we have all these skin issues, we have sleep disorders. You know, if you go 10 years ago, there were like, in the health food stores, there wasn't much medicine for sleep. Now there's like aisles of sleep medicine because people aren't sleeping. And it all has to do with the nervous system. So by the time, and then melatonin, you know, there's so many elements and layers to it, but stress is a really important one to really tune into your body, to your breath. And that's where meditation becomes this magical tool, because you just, and all my clients will first say, I try to meditate, but I can't, my mind is everywhere. But that's exactly why you need it. If you sat down and it was so easy to drop in, you know, then you don't even need it. But the fact that we're having challenges and all those thoughts are coming, that's just showing us that our mind is every which way. And we need to sit down and observe it, calm the breath, calm the nervous system, come back to our center, and then we can react and live from this place. We can take steps from this place. So I think with stress, it's really, because people can say, but how do I eliminate the stress? But it's like really doing more self-care and taking a bath, you know, lighting a candle, putting on your favorite music or mantra, or I love to listen to Native American flutes. You know, this like very quickly helps my body drop into a relaxation state. I mean, have you ever been to a restaurant where they're playing like crazy techno music and your whole body's like bomb, bomb, bomb? Your body can't digest because you're not in the rest and digest state. So stress is a really big one.
In fact, in our meditation practices that we observe here, you know, the connection between meditation and food is also very, very important. Like, if, for example, if you're sitting quietly and you're breathing normally and you're practicing meditation, what kind of food have you eaten is really, really important, and how you have eaten. Like most wise men earlier, they never spoke while they ate food, because their whole concentration was, they were consciously only concentrating on food itself. Nobody ever spoke. So they advised not to speak, in fact, while you are eating. But contrary to that, in modern life, you will see that a lot of people, they're always chatting while they're eating,
Mm-hmm.
which is very different from how they practiced and uh, what people do now. Secondly, the kind of food they ate was also very light before meditation. They never ate food that was tough on guts, where it was difficult to digest and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of importance was given to a vegetarian food, which was very easy on your guts and for digestion. And this is something we see lacking in modern world now. And
Yes, and and that's one reason I feel really. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I'm saying that I really appreciate your the combo that you have in your practice of uh, meditation practices combined with the right kind of diet, because they cannot just be separated. They are so strongly
No.
connected with each other, and they
Yes.
complement it. Like, for example, if you have had a heavy meal and you want to do meditation or do yoga, you just can't be your best. You're going to struggle on your way. So it's as you called earlier, and we have also discussed this before, that the key word here is balancing, which is also
Mm-hmm.
a part of your title that you have for yourself, which is holistic health coach. Holistic means not one way to approach a problem. There are multiple ways, preferably all organic ways, to attack a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
the
also
problem,
approaching and also approaching the problem, looking at all areas of the life, like looking at diet, looking at lifestyle,
yeah,
looking at mental health, looking at career,
yeah,
because all of these things are affecting. So holistic, we see the whole
yeah,
thing. And you can see if you eat really, food is energy. So the way I try to describe, I never try to convince my clients to be a vegetarian. I just try to convince them to get more vegetables on their plate and
yeah.
listen to their body and
Yeah,
notice
I
how they
completely
feel.
agree with you. My personal take on diet is your geographical position and your community habits. They influence a lot of your food habits. It's like for example, if you are a coastal person, obviously there will be fish in your diet, or stuff that is grown on the coastal areas would be on your diet. But the idea is how to balance it, how to balance that food with a vegetarian food, with raw food, with boiled food, with nutrient food, so it becomes a fantastic plate for you, that is giving a lot of nutrients to your body and not depleting.
Yes, and I feel it's so important. It comes back to, because we all want someone, even we find a teacher, we want the teacher to give us the answers, but a real teacher gives us the tools to explore and find them ourselves.
Yeah.
And so when it comes to the food, it's like, I just try to get my clients to pay attention to how they feel after they eat. So it's like, fill your plate. Okay, if you want a little bit of meat, but if you look at a typical American restaurant, they're going to give them a huge slab of steak, a small amount of spinach, and a big baked potato. Where my plate, it would be, half the plate would be the spinach, half the potato, and then other veggies, or if you want a little fish. And so for me, I really
And
gravitate more
a
towards.
lot of love and a lot of attention and a lot of thanksgiving when you eat that food, all that with love, it becomes much more richer and much more productive. Erin,
Yes.
I have one more question on which is not connected to food now. I'm shifting to uh, it is connected to health, but it is not connected to food. Uh, a lot of people these days, they are inseparable from mobile phones now. So we are always
Mhm.
carrying mobile phones in our hands, and there's a lot of radiation that comes from those phones. And we are always connected to laptop. A lot of radiation comes from laptop. Uh, what are your tips for us to kind of decrease it. You can't get rid of it because we're connected to it. But
Mhm.
what do you think we could do to, reduce the bad effects of that bad habit?
Yes. Well, first of all, just doing your meditation and eating well to keep your frequency higher in your body. When you're a higher frequency, not as many things will touch you. But for me in my house, I always turn off internet and phones and keep them away from the bedroom. People will lay in their bed and talk on a phone. Try to keep them outside. Don't let your kids go to bed with their phones. Um, Even if you have a router, just turning it off because you're already getting zapped by everything around you. I also don't like to carry phones in my pockets or on my body. Friends, and you see them like in America, girls will stick them here in their bra or they're in their pocket and they're near your very important things.
Yeah,
And that's affecting. So it's like try to keep it off your body. When you're
yeah,
not using it, turn it off sometimes and just be conscious to spend more time in nature to
yeah.
get those negative ions. And I know it's a little trickier in the cities, but I spend time in Kolkata, I spend time in Delhi, and I spend time in Mumbai, and there are always these beautiful parks. I always seeked out these magical parks where there's people doing japa and walking and running, and they're in nature, and you don't see anyone with their phone. So that's where it comes into balance. Yes, the phone is a great tool. We don't want the tool to use us. We want to use it. So we use it when we need it and just being conscious of how much time, but put it away and go out in nature and connect with people because we almost forget how to connect,
Yeah.
especially with pandemic. We're away from people. Now we're just used to Zoom calls and telephones and we forgot how to talk to people. Everything's through a phone.
And
And
how do you
so,
combat the radiation part? You mean to say that by doing a lot of meditation, probably you can build some positive energy inside your body that will combat
of course,
negative energy?
yes.
All
And some things that help are also cinnamon.
right. Okay.
Cinnamon helps, and also eating a lot of cilantro helps
I
to
see.
alleviate toxins from the body. Um, so just magical herbs like that. Like you said, we can't get away from it, so we do the best we can. But it's so amazing when you can put your phone
Yeah.
down. If you can pick one day a week that you put your phone off and you just go spend time in nature, or even if it's just a few hours or sit by a tree. But absolutely, when you meditate, what I've learned from my teachers and from my own journey is that it's like we're all living in our own reality simultaneously. And it's almost like with the virus, like the virus can be around many people, but not everybody's going to get sick from it. And it depends on their immune system and the frequency of their
Right.
health and their body. So the
Yeah,
higher
this
our frequency,
the
then the more
virus,
protected.
the virus that is assaulting the whole of humanity now. Let's talk about COVID-19. And because of this virus, a lot of people, their lives have got destroyed, their businesses have gone for a toss, and there is a lot of stress and anxiety all over the world. What kind of lifestyle changes one can do so that his immunity becomes much more stronger? And by now we have realized that really nobody knows that what brings that virus in your body. There are a lot of speculation. People say that there are droplets floating in the air, and by touch or uh, by food, or virus comes to you near your system and then it goes in your nose and goes to your lungs. A lot of speculation, but frankly speaking, nobody really knows with confidence. But one thing we all know is if you have a very strong immune system, you can really
Mhm,
fight it off. So,
mhm.
what do you think one should do to make the immune system stronger?
So eating, vegetables, they feed your gut lining. So tons of vegetables, green vegetables, herbal teas, not as much caffeine, but more green teas, herbal teas like fresh tulsi. Tulsi is an amazing plant that's really should be used right now as often as we can. Taking vitamin C, taking zinc, keeping our body mineral, keeping it so we don't go deficient in minerals like magnesium and iodine. And by eating good, healthy vegetables and beans and veggies, we can get a lot of those minerals. I really believe that this time, as much as it's causing a lot of chaos, it's really a beautiful opportunity for humanity to slow down, to tune in, to wake up, to really reflect on their life, on their path, on what's important, on what's their mission. And you know, a lot of people never had time to think about their health. They just go, go, go. Now people are slowed down. And I know there's issues with financial, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
things happening on many levels and layers, and everybody's situation is completely unique. But it is really an opportunity to slow down and to reflect on yourself and your health. And we are seeing how important this immunity is. So, you know, my main thing, and also keeping your body alkaline.
Okay.
So an acidic body is a body that's going to breed for any issues. So it's like you said, we can face a virus or a parasite and it can come in,
So
but if our immune system is
sorry
strong,
to
it kicks it
interrupt you
out.
a little here, because this you used a very important word, and this more information on this would really help a lot of listeners. You said you should keep your body alkaline. So how do you
Yes.
keep your body alkaline, and what kind of food you eat to keep your body alkaline? And is
Okay.
exercise is going to help us?
Absolutely. Exercise is a magical elixir in life. It calms you down, it energizes you. Your skin is your largest detoxification organ, so you sweat out toxins. It cleanses your lymphatic system. When the lymphatic system gets congested, then toxins get more cycled through the body, so working out is a huge one. Now, when it comes to acid and alkaline, an acidic body is what breeds for any issues. When the body is acidic, we're not able to fight things off. And so acidic things are what? Coffee, things like caffeine, alcohol, too much spicy food, tomatoes, meat, especially, you know, heavy meats, um, even dairy, like a lot of cheese and milk can be quite acidic. So the other side of the coin is alkalinity. And so what I do, some people love to use apple cider vinegar. You can put a little apple cider vinegar in your water in the morning. It gets the digestion going and helps to alkaline. I personally prefer to use, every single morning, I cut open a lemon or a lime and I squeeze it in water. And I drink a full glass of water, preferably warm. You know, ginger, things like this. So, but greens. So we want to, you know, I help people go through serious detoxes, but we eventually want to create a lifestyle that supports the natural detoxification of the body. And so this is by eating, you know, it's so, it sounds so like common sense, like duh, eat your veggies. But when you understand, you're replenishing the system with so many vital minerals and nutrients and proteins and carbohydrates and fats that your body needs to sustain and keep building cells and to, you know, for the system to work, to break down food into energy. So, you know, really focusing on, you know, it's all those things that people love, like coffee, cigarettes are very acidic, alcohol, you know, these are the things that are going to take you over. And again, a lot of people take themselves over with too much carbohydrates, bread, processed food. If you open a package eating chips, this is going to be acidic. So fresh local vegetables. I mentioned earlier that, you know, magically whatever's growing around you is what's good for you. So like you said, I'm always in the tropics. There's always coconuts. So coconuts are great.
Yeah.
It's hot environment. But so you have to see where you're at. Some people are living in a more cool climate. So they might want more potatoes and beets and more earthy vegetables, more root vegetables. Might be more soothing to them. And you really need to listen to your body. Because for me, for instance, garlic, if I eat it for dinner, it's harder for me to sleep. It's really a stimulant for me and it keeps me more awake. So if I'm going to have garlic, it's better if I do it during the daytime. It gives me time to burn it off. So we really have to, and some people aren't affected by garlic. I also know people who can drink coffee at night and go to sleep. You know, I'm not a coffee drinker. Every once in a while I'll allow myself because I like the taste. You know, and then, so for instance, every once in a while I'll have a piece of pizza, which is bread, cheese, and tomato. This is all acidic. So I'm conscious that if I have pizza for dinner the next morning, I have 2 glasses of lime water, and then I do all my greens all day. I have a lot of greens to balance it. So it doesn't mean you can't have some of your favorite things sometimes, but just have more of the good stuff, you
Okay.
know, and that's how you balance it. So if I had pizza for dinner, I'm not going to wake up and eat pancakes and paratha because I already had all these carbs and this acidic food. So I need fresh veggies for breakfast. So you see
Oh,
how you can balance like this. So lemon water is a really good one. Keep the body loaded up with vitamin C. Take extra vitamin C. Vitamin C helps many things in the body. And so it
yeah.
really is a booster. And then you get the vitamin C from the lemon as well. But that's the alkaline. When a body's alkaline, it's almost impossible for you to get sick or illness.
Okay.
Any cancer, disease, or illness, if you check their body, is going to be very acidic.
I see. Now, this brings me to another service you have in your, because I just checked out your website, and you all, there are a lot of clients, they call you for healing. A lot of clients, those who are going through mental issues, they also call you for to heal themselves from all these issues of anxiety and stress and all that. I have to say something on this issue from my meditation background. Uh, in our spirituality, we generally don't use the word depression at all. Nowhere it is used. Because if you have followed the method as taught in our ancient culture, like for example, if you are doing meditation, our aim is to self realization. Our aim is to reach to a point where you discover yourself, you find out what you really are. And for that, of course, you gather knowledge, you get guidance of gurus, you read scriptures. But meditation is a very, very important aspect involved in it, where your mind actually modifies yourself to know what you are, which is the final stage of self realization. And a self realized person will never get depressed. He will always have a balanced life. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be a sannyasi or an ascetic. You can be a married person, you can be an ordinary middle class person. But with that kind of self realization, you can bring in a lot of balancing in your life. So we have a very different approach towards depression, how we want to tackle depression, how we want to treat a person who is unhappy. We call it dukhi, or somebody who is suffering from dukh, because the whole idea of uh, uh, finding out Paramatma is because you want to get rid of dukkha, unhappiness. Uh, you being a person who is a great combination of East meets West, you have a lot of information about a Western scientific approach. At the same time, you have a lot of information on meditation and Kundalini yoga and Tantra and, you know, uh, Eastern eating habits, also Eastern spices sometimes you use. So, how do you approach your clients who are facing depression? Is it always a combination, or you decided based on that particular personality?
So every client to me is a complete unique journey. I let them tell me what's going on, but I always do the scan right away to check in, because sometimes depression, maybe something happened in their life, or sometimes there is something nagging on their organs that we need to clear out because it's weighing down on their mind. So I always dive into the belly. But each week I guide my client through about a 30-minute meditation. And we work with the chakras. I tune into their chakras and I see where there's energy lacking, where there's maybe too much energy, maybe it's closed or blocked. So I kind of go at it from an energetic point where I'm looking in their chakras, but I also look in their physical body, the organs, and then I give them meditations to do, because they only talk to me once a week, and it's really what they're doing when they're not with me. So I try to give them various different styles of meditation until they find one that they resonate with, so they'll stick with it. Because otherwise it becomes another chore, it becomes another to do, it becomes another stress for them. And I try to help them understand that meditation isn't something that we have to do, it's something we get to do. We get to be in our own energy, to be with ourselves, turn off this outside world and all the programming, and to go in and find our inner truth. So this is the greatest gift that you can give yourself, or you can give to anyone, is to teach them to do this. So for me, I go at it from all angles. I don't see, each person is unique, because I might look inside somebody and see they have a virus, or I might see they have parasites, or I might say they need a liver detox. So it really depends on, and for instance, the liver is really connected to anger and depression. So when people have an overloaded liver, different organs like lung is more connected to grief. So when people are very irritable, like I was, my liver was completely overloaded. And
Right.
sometimes people think it's only from alcohol, but if you're eating a lot of junk food with trans fatty acids, the bad fats, this
Mm.
also can overload the liver. So when the liver's overloaded, it'll either come out as depression or anger. And so I used to approach it, I used to try to approach it just from meditation and energy, but I saw through my own body, I needed to go in there and physically remove what was there. And so I kind of come at it from all those different angles.
Interesting. Airin, I have a last question for you because uh, we have a limited time, and of course, you have to go somewhere, and I have certain plans for myself after 15 minutes. Uh, you have given a lot of stress to core strength in your exercises. A lot of people, they build their muscles, they build their, biceps and triceps and thighs and stuff like that. I've realized that you give a lot of importance to core strength. And I also have known some coaches who swear by core strength. That is the most important aspect of working outs.
And, you know, it's, if you look at that area, the core chakra at your solar plexus, this is your power center. So the stronger this area, the more energy you'll have, the more confidence. This is your chakra of transformation. This is what breaks down food and turns it into energy. So you're going to be healthier with food, with digestion, and then you're going to have more energy. So it, for so, you know, you look at, you know, that little, the little laughing Buddha, and he always has a big round belly.
Yeah.
And I was always so confused because Siddhartha, if you read the story of Buddha, he never had a big belly. But why does this little guy have a big belly? Is because it's a symbol of energy. He has a lot of energy. So when the core is strong, we're stronger. And I mentioned earlier, you know, when we have extra fat around the belly, and they said especially men, it lowers their testosterone. So they end up having more estrogen. So they'll say that men that have bigger bellies and don't take care of that, they're more emotional. They'll cry easier. And so they're losing their testosterone. So their testosterone, they're losing their masculinity as a man. And then also for men and women, the brain is shrinking. So the belly is where all the organs are. If you think of any issue, health issues you have, it's not because of your arm. It's because of some organ, right? Or
Yeah.
in the brain. Like it's the spinal column and the organs that are held around it. So this is a very important part. This is like, and if you know, the third chakra in yoga is called Manipura. And this translates from Sanskrit to the city of lustrous gems. So you just visualize, I love to visualize my organs are like these golden gems, shining and healthy. You know, so when they're healthy and working, the brain is working, we make better decisions, we're more clear, it's easier to connect, you know, to ourself, to God, whatever, the universe, whatever resonates with us. And so, yeah, you know, the belly really is everything.
Yeah. Now, uh, people, those who are listening to this conversation, they can get in touch with Airin Aquarius on this from her website called www.airinaquarius.com. And before we sign off, Airin, I want 3 simple tips for a common man to lose weight, if you could please.
To lose weight,
That's the common
focus
interest
on
for
an
everyone.
alkaline diet.
All right.
Focus on an alkaline diet.
One.
Find a daily meditation practice.
All right.
And eat more green vegetables.
All right. So alkaline diet, meditation, and green veggies is a great combination if you want to lose weight. Thanks a lot, Airin, and I'm
Thank you so
really
much.
looking forward to meeting you when you visit Mumbai very soon. Signing off
We'll
now.
see you soon.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.